Skin Season 7 is about texture, about the textures of the human experience, about the textures of becoming radicalized by the movements of maturity, about the disenchantment of adulthood, and about ghosts. This is a pretty spooky season, in my opinion. I feel like every character is haunted by their youth, by what they used to be. Skin Season 7 is about Effie, Cassie, and Cook being haunted by the ghosts of themselves. Season 7 fucked me up, okay? This was beautiful, and I've never seen anything like it. I have never seen anything like this season. So the final season brings back a handful of the characters from the first two generations of Skins. We focus on Effie, Cassie, and Cook. 6 episodes, 3 primary stories: Fire, Pure, Rise. And these 3 characters, I do believe, are haunted by the ghosts of who they used to be, of their younger selves, of their younger, more free, more nihilistic selves. And every once in a while, in these stories, the older self creeps back in, makes an appearance, and it's like, oh my god, the spotlight. Wow. That's Effie, that's Cassie, that's Cook. That's what the world's taken from us, because the world takes our rebellion away, our freedom away. It radicalized us into positions. It radicalized. Fuck, man, whatever. I think that Skins presents us with a universe that radicalizes kids to act in the most hedonistic, nihilistic, and self-destructive ways, and then, without any warning or without any true preparation, thrusts them out into adulthood, and there they're doomed to become disenchanted, dispossessed, and despondent. And within Effie's story, she's this ambitious young woman who is sleeping with her boss in this nice office. She participates in insider trading to help her climb the corporate ladder. Her entire youth was spent inventing narratives, inventing a soap opera, dominating narrative systems. So here she tried to dominate the narrative of the corporate world and was defeated by it in a most anti-romantic and anticlimactic sort of way. The adult world has no time for theatrics. Effie Stoneham ends her story almost certainly going to jail. She tried to invent narratives in her adult life and was ultimately punished for doing so. Naomi is staying with her, and she's such a lovable stoner comedian, but she's dying of cancer. Like, she's dying. No ifs, ands, or buts. Naomi is dying. And I think at first Effie views her, and this is very sad, but I believe that Effie originally views Naomi within season 7 as an actual cancer upon her life. Luckily, Effie is able to remedy that before her story wraps up. Cassie's story, I think, is fascinating. Purity is a very strange theme for it. She's deemed pure by this young guy who keeps taking pictures of her as some sort of art project. And he's grown a sort of cult following around this art project, which is like largely composed of him taking kind of candid photos of Cassie. He sees her as something so beautiful, something so pure, something remarkable. And it's the image, right? Okay, yeah. You know that I view Skins within a sort of postmodern analysis. That's what I like to do most. I like to apply like a postmodern reading to the show. It's what gets me the most excited. It's how I derive the most meaning from it. Effie was finally punished in a complete and total way in season 7 for inventing narratives. The show can call it insider trading as much as it wants, but what she's punished for is inventing narratives, finally. All the while refusing to accept the reality, which is her very close friend dying of cancer. Cassie has become this kind of recluse in London. She seems to have overcome a lot of her hang-ups, her mental hang-ups, but I wouldn't be too certain about that. But she seems to be a bit calmer, a bit more rational, a different sort of Cassie, but a quieter Cassie. These are all quieter formats of their characters that we've come to know and love. Cassie is quieter. Cassie seems to have not only run away from Sid, from any sort of narrative, but from the moving image, from any sort of image. Skins itself originally cast a huge light on her as something unique, something beautiful, something that should be followed, something that should be adored in her original run on the show. And now this stalker is seeing some sort of purity within her still, some sort of beauty within her. And I'm sure Cassie is someone who doesn't really believe there's much pure left within her. And I also believe that Cassie thinks, I brought this up when Chris died. I feel like when Chris died, the concept of purity, of pureness, of sweetness was killed in Cassie's mind. And she no longer believes in that concept. So this kid is completely terrorizing her and infatuating her. Cook, his story, Rise, is the final story of the entire series, and it's a devastating one. It's a terrifying one. Fool, motherfucker. Cook's narration states that nothing is solid, everything's fantasy, an illusion, the end of the universe. And I believe that the show ends in the frozen outskirts of narrative itself. Cook can never stop running from the narrative that wants him dead, that's wanted him dead since season 4. And he's this weapon, this postmodern time bomb, this ball of mania that can't be destroyed. While Cook, Emma, and Charlie are on the run from Louis, a vicious, murderous drug lord, he's asked, how long do we have to go on for? And he says, until it's finished, meaning the show. Everyone who comes in contact with these three people have their lives immediately deconstructed and devastated. Dom, who Effie convinced to break the law for her to do insider trading, she flirted with him until he gave in and basically condemned himself. He said, before you, I was fine. Now I'm fucking pathetic. There's a large part of season 7 that feels like it's the show's own suicide note. It can be very devastating. I absolutely feel there's a lot of dream logic being used in these final 6 episodes. I think that Cook's entire story, he gets wrapped up in another love triangle. This time the stakes are a lot higher, right? Like this time, at least more obviously higher. The original love triangle ended in deaths plural as well. But this one, it's very clear that it's almost like a different genre altogether. We are in a sort of crime epic when we are with Cook. He's found himself into another triangle that's going to devastate everyone, and somehow Cook's going to be able to walk away. I think that within Dream Logic, we are seeing Cook finally deal with that narrative on his own terms. And every so often, Cook will crack a smile, and you'll see the old Cook, because once again, this is a quieter, more subdued version of the character format of Cook, until the very end, where he unleashes holy hell on Louis after Louis has murdered Emma. She's hanging from a tree, and it just looks so fucking amazing and haunting, gothic. And he screams, "I'm fucking Cook." Screams it again. And he's there. He's the weapon. Cook finally faced the narrative he was trapped within, and this time he chose to let it under his skin. This time he chose to let it ache within him, to feel every part of it. He could have run away from the narrative like he always did, but this time he met it face to face, knowing what it could do to him. And I think within Dream Logic, we are kind of revisiting, or at least I think through Dream Logic, we are examining the trauma within Cook from seasons 3 and 4, where according to my reading, he killed the narrative of that generation forever, and has since been adrift with nothing to guide him forward. and he refuses to make these giant stands because he knows that his kind of rebellious, more chaotic and anarchic actions have all of these narrative consequences to them. And in his story, he finds himself wrapped into another fucking triangle, which is even darker and more intense than the original. And innocent people are punished. In its final season, Skins decided to say, like a mantra, through Cassie, that everything matters. Now, I thought that this was a testament to nihilism, to teenage nihilism, but in its final few episodes, things truly do matter. Everything matters. For Cassie, everything is good, everything matters. For Cook, everything matters because life matters, because life gets under your skin. Because you never know death and you never know life. You only think that you know them both. But the experiential qualities, that's why I'm talking about the textures of season 7. It's a season that almost defeats analysis, any sort of orthodox analysis, because it's about texture. It's about how you feel looking at that desolate fucking tree on the outskirts of the universe itself, right? Where the show ends. With Cook walking not into a sunset, but a sunrise. It's about the texture of the snow. It's about the texture of the sand on the beach with Cassie. It's about the texture of the city walls and the city architecture with Effie. About the texture of the hospital bed that Naomi is confined to near the end of her life. It's about texture. It's about fire. It's about purity, how you can actually feel purity. And purity is a concept and you can embody purity, which Cassie did. Cassie, a character who probably felt impure based on all the things that she had been put through in her life, to be viewed as like the ultimate example of purity was such a head fuck for her. And to be adored, to be loved, but never for any sort of sane reason. Her insanity does follow her. With Cook, it's the texture of the steering wheel. Or even the incredibly erotic, like, sensuality of sex itself. Like, this is a very texture-based season. It's got a great deal of philosophy to it, but what it has even more than anything else is the texture of feeling itself, because it's a show that believes that life is visceral, that life is about texture, that life is felt, not viewed, not analyzed, not studied over. You can't be a tourist in life. Sometimes life, the narrative of your life, will give you no other option but to be intimately involved with the high stakes drama that's going on all around you. It'll force you not to be a tourist for a brief moment, and that brief moment will get under your skin and be within your spirit forever. And it can change you indefinitely. It can haunt you. Season 7 is about the ghosts of who you used to be. We see glimpses of Effie at a nightclub. She sneaks out to go to the nightclub, and we see her dancing in beautiful montage. And that's the Effie. Sorry. That's the Effie that we used to know. What good is it if you miss a former version of yourself? If that former version of yourself was pure shit, but then what good is it being who you are now? If you have no self-respect or no freedom. Your youth is about freedom. Adulthood is about caving in and being hunted by death. I thought these episodes were really good. They give you a lot to think about, but what's way more important, and what I keep stressing throughout this video, is that this final season of Skins, forget thinking about it. Feel it. Feel it. Because there are so many wonderful moments that, sure, you can write an essay about, but I think that'd be fatally missing the point. They're supposed to get into you, under your skin. These different musings of Cassie's, the photographs of Cassie, you're supposed to kind of dwell on them, fixate on them. You're supposed to get lost in the woods with Cook. And that woods, I do believe it represents the outskirts of the narrative, the very edge of the universe, the ass end of the edge of the universe, the end of Skins. Quite hyper literally, the very end of this like television universe. We're there. We made it there. This is like undeveloped country because like this is the last stop. This is it. This is where the fucking map ends. This is where Skins ends. Like I want you to get lost with him within that postmodern wilderness where nothing is certain, nothing is guaranteed, and everything seems so hostile. But once again, just like the ending of season 4, the postmodern hero will rise, and his name is fucking Cook. The weapon. The only thing the narrative of Skins has ever been afraid of because it can't account for him. It can't predict what Cook is going to do next. Cook is an entirely free character, and he has been since his introduction. I do believe it's heartbreaking seeing Effie fall victim to the intrinsic, inherent criminality of adult life. I believe it's largely metaphorical. There's so much dream logic involved here. And dream logic, you can be Freud or Jung if you fucking want to, but it's mostly meant to be felt, to stir something within you. And every part of all of these episodes stirred something within me. Cassie initially hating the fact that she was being photographed. She even thought that Jacob, who was taking the pictures, was using them to jerk off to, because she has such a low opinion of the image, because nothing about her could be mistaken for an example of purity, not from her perspective. Everything about her must be sexualized and used only for crude self-gratifying purposes, right? But over time she comes to just understand that there's so many complexities within that image of purity. And I can't think of anything more pure than her bringing her little brother to the cafe and having his hair cut. Telling him everything's good. Everything's good. Everything matters. I thought this was a fascinating end to the series, and a really haunting one. It was extremely depressing. Even at moments where it wasn't completely devastating, there was just the mood, the texture of it was so striking to me. Like, it fucked me up. It fucked me up really bad. I think it's brilliant, but it fucked me up really bad. I do love that we did focus on, Effie, Cook, and Cassie. Those are 3 of my favorite Skins characters. I think my 5 favorite Skins characters are, Cook, Effie, Cassie, Tony, and Chris. And I'm very happy that this final season chose to focus on and explore some of my favorite ones, the ones that I adore most and that excite me the most. And explore them in ways that are so counterintuitive. There's nothing expected here. I just can't believe the choices that were made, and I can't believe just how kind of poetically I think that it all fit together, and how these different stories kind of speak to each other. You know, they're all kind of variations on a theme, which I think the theme overall is um, the unbearable texture of life itself. And I think that each story, each character, they're variations on that same exact devastating theme. And Cook ending it, of course, he ended the narrative itself in season 4. He has to end the complete show, the entire show, in the final moments. He has to be the last one. It's a season about textures. It's a series of episodes about feeling. about the experience of feeling and of being felt, because I believe that Skins is being felt as well. That's what gives this season such a bizarre and haunting feeling. It does feel like it's crafted its own suicide letter. Like, these are Skin's final words, and a lot of them are bizarre. Many parts are kind of incoherent, at least when trying to sort them out within like the grand themes and the greater narratives of everything. It is a show that is behaving like a person on suicide watch. And I believe that's exactly what the show itself does. It's not Emma hanging from that tree, it's the show itself hanging from that tree in the final moments. But Cook lives on to wander indefinitely, full of life and full of death, full of purity and full of fire. The postmodern hero, James Cook, he rose. I know what it means to rise. I understand what the show's talking about. I've just never seen something like this. This is art on another level, on an entirely different sort of scale. This season of Skins has scars on its wrists and a really, really heavy heart. And it desperately wants to be loved. And in this season of Skins, everything matters. Everything matters. Nothing is meaningless. Everything matters. Life, death, rebirth, this circle, this cycle. Everything's good and everything matters. What the fuck, man? This was so like, dude, oh man. This ruined me. This was so great. This was just fucking, this was excellent. Yeah. Yeah, Skins is top 3 teen dramas of all time, easily. The extraordinary things I've seen this show do. I'm shocked. My heart is completely broken. The philosophy of the show is perfect. This is one of the finest works of art I've ever seen. I'm struggling to find words because I'm genuinely struggling to justify the words themselves, because I really believe that you need to feel this season. It's so poetic. It's populated with dream logic, with the experiential qualities of a postmodern divinity. Like, you need to feel it. You can't talk about it. You can't deconstruct it. You need to feel this season. You need to feel these characters, feel the emotions themselves. It's given the emotions, the abstract, the obscure, the esoteric physical forms for you to actually feel. And it gets under your skin, just like life and just like death does, gets there. And it's there forever, and it's all good. It's all fucking good. Because that's the way it has to be. And that's all I have to say about it.